Fine.
You know what? Whatever upgrades info you want on there. Oh. I think we're there. Okay. Hey everybody, here we are again, another Monday night, and we're really having so much fun talking about health. And today we're going to talk about the subject we promised to talk about last week, which is apple pectin, and what an adventure that's been. So Bobbi and I just wanted to tell you how we got onto this topic together, and then Bobbi is going to take over and give you some good info. And at the end of the broadcast, we're going to give you contact information. So if you would like more specific information, we can send it to you. So this is what happened. I was very excited to get my delivery of Doterra fiber blend that they have, because I've been struggling with diverticulitis, which is very, very, very painful. And I was really afraid to take the fiber that came from the health food store, because it's very like bulky. So I got it and I tried it, and it's delicious. It's got a nice like sweet taste to it. And it seemed to be doing the job. And we were at a party together, and I mentioned that I was, now using this in my shake. And one of the gals who was there, she is like super knowledgeable about natural health. Like, I mean, she was born with it. She grew up with it. She's had a lifetime to study it, and she uses it. And in fact, she said, "You know what, Anne? I've only been to the doctor 3 times in the last, I don't know how many decades or whatever, because she can take care of herself with natural health." Anyways, but one of the things that she said was, "Anne, apple pectin is a really important health protocol these days for disease prevention." And I thought, I have to tell Bobbi. So as soon as I got home from the party, I texted her or messaged her, and I said, "Bobbi, you'll never guess what. I just found out that apple pectin is a really good and documented part of disease prevention protocol." So Bobbi, being the researcher and the knowledgeable one, I sent her the links that I had to the information, and she's been analyzing them. So Bobbi.
Well, do you know that we always learned what? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. But did anybody know why?
No.
Maybe vitamin C.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the apple pectin. So I've been doing some research, and I actually take apple pectin. I didn't even realize the benefit from it. I actually take apple pectin in my Doterra fiber every day, and I knew it was a great source of fiber. I knew I loved the taste of it, but I didn't really understand. And it is actually the first ingredient. We always know when we read the ingredients on the back of something, the first ingredient is obviously the most important and has the most in it in anything that we do. Apple fiber, apple pectin fiber, that's there. So what is pectin? Does anybody even know what pectin is? Well, let me tell you. So
you tell us, Bobbi.
Pectin is actually a carbohydrate that is extracted from fruits and vegetables and seeds. So the highest concentration of the pectin is actually in the skin and the core and the seeds. That's why it's so important to eat the apple skin. But we obviously want it organic. We don't want any toxins on it. If you're buying fruit, you do need to wash it. We always suggest lemon oil is great to get rid of all of the stuff that comes on it. So we soak it in lemon oil and water and some white vinegar. Get rid of the toxins if you're not buying organic fruit. So, but we know that the highest concentration of the pectin is in the skins, of course, the seeds. But you can use pectin for lots of things, like as a jelly agent in like jams and jelly and fillings. It's a really good source of dietary fiber. It was actually found in 1820. and it was discovered as a key element of jams and jellies. And they, the first jams to use pectin were apple, currant, and quincy.
Mm.
And they used, the colonists in New England commonly made their own pectin. So,
Oh, wow.
so it's in pears, it's in apples and guava, quince, plums. It's so you can also get it. You can actually make your own apple pectin, believe it or not. So I was like, "Ooh, this is interesting." I'm like, "I think I'm going to
How
try
labor intensive would that be, Bobbi?
this." So it's actually easy to make. You
Okay.
actually cut 2 pounds of tart green apples. They actually say Granny Smith apples are the apples that have the highest amount of apple pectin in them.
Okay.
And so with the skin, you cut them into pieces. You add it to 4 cups of water, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, lemon oil, boil it for 30 minutes, strain it through a cheesecloth,
Yeah.
and then boil it again for another 20 minutes and pour the juices into a sanitized jar. And voila, you have apple pectin.
Wow.
So
how much would you get from that, do you figure?
you'd probably get actually quite a bit. So that's a lot. Like you're talking 2 pounds of apples. That's a lot of apples. So maybe 8, 10 apples,
Yeah.
right? For 2 pounds, right? That's a lot. So pectin, apple pectin, hugely beneficial because it's a really good source of fiber, hence why it's in our fiber. And so it's not just it really, it's more than a regulator. As soluble fiber, it works by binding to fatty substances in your digestive tract. So this is where the benefits come in. So it binds to fatty substances in our digestive tract, and that includes cholesterol, that includes toxins, helps promote elimination. That really helps your body's detoxing capabilities. So
Yeah.
people need to read between the lines of what I'm saying, but it really does help your body regulate the use of sugar and cholesterol, which improves your gut health, your digestive health. So it's binding all this stuff and helping your body eliminate it. So whether your body has either digestive issues on either end of the spectrum, it actually helps regulate it both. So whether you're one or the other, you fluctuate in between, it actually helps your body regulate. And so it really, really helps. It also helps lipid digestion. We really need good motility. Good motility is really, really, really important for our health. So we really need good motility. People with really good motility tend to have a lot better health than sluggish motility.
I'm going to, is this what you just said? Hold on. Wait a second here. Is that the word?
Motility, yes.
Motility. I'm learning, I'm getting a whole new vocabulary.
Motility is it's your food going through your digestive tract and how quick it goes, right? Some people have a super fast metabolism and their motility is like off the charts, and other people it takes like 4 days. So we need a little bit more regular than that.
Yeah, we do.
So
I'm going for colonoscopy on Wednesday.
Oh,
and so I'm going to find out tomorrow how good my motility is.
Yes, you are.
But here's the thing, I have to kind of schedule, I'm getting my hair done too. And I'm supposed to start my cleanse at the same time that my hair appointment is.
Oh.
I don't think that's going to work.
I think you need to wait till your hair appointment's over. That would be really interesting.
I have a real crisis about my hair. I have to go. So I think I'm going to have to say, listen, you can't blow dry my hair because I have an important meeting.
I have a court reading in a special room in my house.
Anyway.
Apple pectin, but it's not going to do miracles when you're trying to like do your colonoscopy drugs. Okay. But you're going to need the apple pectin after your colonoscopy because you are putting all these drugs in your body.
Oh yeah,
colonoscopy. That's toxins. So you're going to need the apple pectin after to help pull those toxins out of your body and eliminate them.
And so you think the lemon, because the lemon oil, which I take in my water, probably more than I should, but it pulls the toxins out too. Does it do it the same way, or
it's the same thing? But it's like fiber. So the pectin kind of swells like this jelly substance, right? It swells up. So you're taking your fiber and then it's going through your intestines and pulling with it all the stuff, right? And it's giving you good bacteria at the same time because it's a prebiotic. And so it's pulling all that stuff. So it actually, I read this on the internet. It says that a 1994 study was published in the Journal of Nutrition, and it found that rats that fed diets containing pectin had actually lower LDL and liver cholesterol concentrations than the control group after just 28 days. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So it lowers cholesterol too. So it has so much benefits to it. And it helps control the diarrhea, but it also helps with constipation, helps fight diabetes because it's helping you with your blood sugar. And obviously, if you have better motility, you will aid weight loss and it's pulling all the junk out, right? So alpha pectin is very, very, very important.
Well, I'm pumped. And I'm even more pumped because this week and last week I've been taking Oil Camp 1, which is where when you start to use oils, you really need to go to Oil Camp because there's a lot of education that you need in order to understand the absolute incredible resource that just landed in your hands and how to use it properly and effectively. And these oils have multiple uses. So I'm taking Oil Camp. In fact, when we're done tonight, I'm going to have to do my homework for Oil Camp. But this is one of the DIYs that they had. I think it was actually Daphne. Was it Daphne who mentioned it? No, maybe one of the other coaches. But you take an apple, you cut it into slices, you soak it in water, and you add a couple of drops of On Guard oil. So the apple has the pectin in it, which is part of the disease prevention protocol that I researched and shared with you after my conversation with our friend who's very knowledgeable and really on a point when it comes to disease prevention protocols for the seasonal threats we are currently facing. But I thought, well, that's you kind of getting a double whammy there because tell us about the On Guard oil.
So On Guard is the immunity blend. So we use it for so many things. So with essential oils, you can actually diffuse, you can put on topically, and with Doterra, because they're 100% certified pure tested grade, we can actually take it internally. So On Guard is one of the oils we take internally regularly because it is the immune boosting oil. So it's got your orange, your clove, your cinnamon leaf, your cinnamon bark, your eucalyptus, and your rosemary. So it's really, really good to diffuse in the environment to combat the threats, but also to take a little bit of water for soothing a sore throat. But in the apples, it's phenomenal, especially for kids, to get the immune boosting properties of the On Guard. And so on that apple, so now you're getting your apple pectin and you're going to keep the skin on because you're going to get the added apple pectin. And so then you're going to soak it in the On Guard and you're going to eat it. And with the On Guard soaked in the water, it actually prevents the apples from going brown. So it is actually a great, delicious snack. And it has like this, like just a little bit of oil residue. It's has a little bit of like a cinnamon flavor. It's actually really delicious.
Yeah, I like the flavor of the On Guard. It's quite spicy. So my husband eats an apple every day. So I think this is even one way possibly I could get him to ingest the On Guard, which I think he really needs. Yeah. So that's exciting. And that's what I find, with all of the Oil Camp and all the education that, if you don't have, your eyes just keep getting open wider and wider and wider to the benefits of the oils and the supplements and how, they were like, I can't get over the science that's behind all of this stuff. Like the disease prevention protocol that I was reading about the apple pectin has a lot of scientific research behind it, many articles, many doctors that are referenced. And one of the things I found absolutely fascinating was that this particular doctor who put this disease prevention protocol together discovered that they had done research with children who lived in areas that had been affected by Chernobyl. So when that nuclear disaster happened, of course, those communities were highly contaminated. And, I don't remember how many years ago that was, but there have been more than one crop of children born since then. And the research they did was that if they had sufficient levels of apple pectin given to them, that it decreased the level of radioactive toxicity in their bloodstream. The testings were really positive. And so because of that research, felt that it could also be applied as part of the disease prevention protocol for the seasonal threats that we are currently facing. That was sort of like the fourth thing on the list of four things. So I was looking at what the levels were that were recommended versus what is currently in my diet, using the Doterra Lifelong Vitality and the essential oils and the fiber and whatnot. And this is one thing I discovered, like magnesium. Magnesium is one of the ingredients that is highly important. So I have a supplement that I take. Plus, I have magnesium in the On Guard. They're not lozenges; they're like tablets. They're like vitamin C tablets, and you take 3 a day. So if I take when I take those, plus the magnesium that's in the Lifelong Vitality with this other supplement, I have the dosage that they're recommending. So I'm covered for that.
Yeah.
I'm also, the other thing that I saw was that the vitamin C that they recommend, that's kind of like the number one thing. With the Lifelong Vitality and the On Guard tablets, I'm getting about 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, and they're recommending up to like 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C taken in a powder form. But I already feel like, you know what, you're really good about the levels.
With vitamin C too, your body doesn't store up vitamin C. So if it doesn't need it immediately when you take it, you will just excrete it, right? So so you have to be kind of like, it's better to take vitamin C more like this. So if you're taking your chewable tablets 3 different times a day, like you're getting your vitamin C at more needed times rather than all at once, right?
Yeah.
And then your body will put it to work. So that's really important.
And the other thing I found out was I was looking at the recommended level of zinc. And in the On Guard chewable tablets, if you take 3 a day, and plus what's in the Lifelong Vitality, you're getting the recommended dosage. I'm sure there's a range of dosages depending on what protocol you're looking at, but it seemed like 40 to 50 milligrams daily of zinc is what is recommended. So that was, very encouraging to see that as well.
Yeah. I mean, I always tell people, like, if anybody is having problems with sleeping, with restless legs, cramping at night, motility, magnesium is probably likely a deficiency. I would probably recommend, this is my word again. I recommend everyone magnesium, but magnesium needs to be in a form that is bioavailable. So I would recommend like a bisglycinate, something that's already chelated, attached to the amino acid. I'm using big words, but it's important because you don't want to buy stuff that doesn't work.
Okay.
So it needs to be bioavailable.
Talk about this, what this means here, because this is something that I learned, and I didn't understand why. Because listen, Bobbi, we've had a lot of vitamin jars in our household over many years.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and I go to Healthy Planet. I love Healthy Planet. I love the guy that he's got this long ponytail, and he knows everything. I love going and saying, "Oh, well, I'm on this health kick, and this is what I'm looking for," and he'll tell me all the information. But he didn't tell me this, and this is the reason why the Lifelong Vitality is so effective. Where more so, I feel it more than I did on the other stuff.
Bioavailability is the degree which or rate which a substance is absorbed and becomes available at the site of physiological activity after administration. Basically, that your body absorbs it and puts it to work. So if you want that rate really high, that your body's going to absorb it and put it to work right away. obviously the lifelong vitality is so effective. It's because it's made solely from food. So when your body ingests it, it's immediately bioavailable because it's like, hey, you ate this amazing meal and I have all this energy and I can do stuff with all this and I don't have to work to break it down. A lot of times when people, I used to hear all the time, my husband used to complain all the time, I don't want to take supplements because I feel worse after. Well, the supplements we were taking were not good quality. And what happens is his body had to work too hard to break it down. So it was not bioavailable. So his body had to work really hard to break it down. So then his body got too tired and had no effect. You need it bioavailable. That's very, 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 very important.
Yeah, and there's one way, the first day that you take these, that you know that these supplements, the nutrients that you're putting in your body are being absorbed by your body and they are not getting flushed down the toilet.
Yes.
And as an artist, I can tell you that there's more than one color of yellow in your paint box. And you get when your supplements are bioavailable,
Yes.
your color doesn't change because your body is absorbing it. If the color's changing, then it means that what you have put in is going out. You're
And if
just,
anybody wants to know what that looks like, go take a couple thousand milligrams of vitamin C.
yes,
And you'll know what we're talking about.
yes. Or go paint and paint with different yellows and see the difference between them. Yeah, so that's good. So, Bobbi, I wanted to just tell you that while it is true that when people tell me things like disease prevention protocols, part of my brain wants to not really think about that. The other part knows it's important. But one thing that is nice to think about is your skin. And I had a moment, I think it was last week, when I was looking at my hands, probably on a Zoom call. Do you know my hands look younger? The skin on my hands look younger.
More
And
hydrated, not so wrinkly.
yeah, it's softer. And also, I used to have these little like bumps on my arms, and they're not there anymore. They're gone. So I guess I started, in June taking the stuff, and it wasn't taking it twice a day, missed some days. It took a while, to get into the routine of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not putting like cream on. It's not exfoliating. It's not some external beauty treatment. I think my body is renewing.
Well, your skin is your largest organ.
Yes.
Right? So if you start feeding your body properly, obviously your largest organ is going to be affected positively.
Yes.
So that's, I think, what you're seeing is this amazing, wow, I'm feeling really, really good because your skin's getting like, wow, it's like phenomenal, right? So water, cleansing is so important. Like, and it's not even hard. Like, you can just take some lemon oil in your water and help your body cleanse itself.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of the toxins.
Get rid of the toxins. And we're so fixated on doing things externally for beauty, but it really starts from the inside out. If you have glowing skin and you're balanced in your emotions, then you are full of life, and it goes from the inside out. And then when that happens, I find it encouraging, because I go, wow, if that's what if my skin's like this, what's the inside of me looking like, right?
Yeah, because gut health affects so many things. Gut health affects your brain, affects your emotions, affects your body, your disease prevention, your immunity, all those things. It's all affected by your gut. So we need to actually take care of our gut.
Yeah.
Not put bad things in it. Make sure the right things go in it. Make sure it's healthy. Prebiotics, probiotics, fiber. Those are important, right? Just like magnesium and vitamin C and vitamin D and zinc is important for our immune systems and the climate that we're in with this disease prevention. Also, like with our gut health, probiotic, prebiotic, fiber, those water. Even
Yeah.
just drinking water. Some people don't drink any water. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I can't go a
Yeah.
day without drinking water.
No, once you get drinking, you really notice if you're dehydrated. I have successfully eliminated caffeine from my diet again. It's just a huge thing.
Yeah.
The other thing I just, I guess my heart is when I hear stories about there's this guy, pastor in the Barrie area who's really ill right now with a seasonal threat that has sort of took hold of him.
Yeah.
And, I go, oh, I hope somebody close to him and his family is sharing this information, with them, because I can't imagine if you're that ill, what it would feel like and how much, um, when you're that depleted, you need so much more support, so much more strengthening.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely convinced, like, that there's, I mean, definitely support in the things that we're getting. I want to tell every person who's fearful about seasonal threats that, you know, this can be part of fighting back and protecting yourself and your family. The more science that I read, the more exposure that I get. What would you say about that?
It's really important not to fear, but to take control. So it's important to say, you know what, I will be responsible for
Yeah.
myself and my health. And
Hmm.
so by being responsible, we're doing things that improve our health,
Hmm.
taking supplements,
Hmm.
washing our hands, but taking supplements, building ourselves up, exercising so that
Hmm.
our body's not weak, getting fresh air, drinking water, getting rid of the toxins, eating proper fruits and vegetables, getting rid of the sugar. Unfortunately, guys, sugar's not good for your immune system.
Hmm.
Sugar's been proven to actually like suppress your immune system for several hours
Wow.
after you actually ingest it. So, all those things. And I mean, yeah, sure. Who doesn't like sugar? Sugar's very addictive. Sugar's yummy. It's not good for you. It's definitely not good for your body. So, when you start to make healthy choices
Hmm.
and you start to feel more empowered with your health and you start to feel better, then you don't need to fear.
Hmm. You don't need to fear, especially if you have education, so you know what it is you're taking and what it's doing. And I believe that we tend to treat our symptoms with things that are suppressing the experience of those symptoms, but we're not really, um, you know, dealing with the root causes. And so we don't want to mask things. We want to eliminate problems, right? So there's and I think that for those of us who maybe are not trusting everything, or let's maybe use a different way to describe that. There are people who really desire education and knowledge about what they're putting in their body. So for people that like to research, for people who like to know and understand what it is they're putting in their body, this is a very satisfying and rewarding journey, and you can't help but feel um, uh, uh, uplifted, um, and even victorious in the
Mhm.
face of some of the challenges. Yeah.
For sure. And you know what? There are people that are, you know, legitimately in a season where it's not right from where their body is fighting something right now. And that's really difficult. And if you're in that season, um, I bless you with health. I pray that the healing power of God touches your body because Jesus came and he took every sickness and every disease upon his back. And
Mhm.
with every stripe, he took everything. And so we can walk in wholeness and healing because of what he did for us on the cross. And so, if you are in the middle of that, just know that Jesus is with you. And we just declare healing over your life. And we
Yeah.
declare that your cells align up in the name of Jesus and that you experience the healing power of God in your body and that you get the revelation from the Holy Spirit on what changes you need to make
Hmm.
for your health. And
Yeah.
that is really important. When I had the revelation from the Holy Spirit on what changes I needed to make, that changed everything.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it can just be really overwhelming when you're struggling with issues for people to give advice. It's
Yeah.
not it's not a good thing a lot of times just to give advice to people. It is wonderful when you're praying and you're asking God for help, and then he starts to open the door, or he starts to lead you, and then you're ready. You're ready to engage with that information, and then it just feels like a tree of hope. It's not this thing where it feels like people are not compassionate, or it's not always helpful, right?
Right.
Yeah, so for sure
And
that's
I think sometimes like we need to just have people walk beside us and say, you know what, I'm here with you. Sometimes people
yeah,
just need a friend in the midst of their suffering, right? Saying, hey, I'm walking this journey too. I'm not perfect. I'm making small changes. You make small changes and we'll do this together.
and sometimes you make changes, small changes, and then you have a life event and it kind of puts you back to zero again. I mean, that's kind of what I've experienced, where you find out, oh, here's the latest greatest thing, and you try it for a while, and then something happens and you get out of the new routine, or there's a new challenge, and you know what, that's the hardest time, because you feel like, oh, now I have to start all over again. But I think it's just like sometimes, if you fall off your horse, you just get back on and you take baby steps, and it's a process, it's a journey, right?
It's a
So
journey. And I think sometimes we set too lofty goals. We set so lofty goals, we can never like actually accomplish the goals that we're setting.
yeah,
Set actual realistic goals and then gradually let them increase, right? So that you're not always disappointed.
yeah, I think
You're
that's,
stretching yourself because you still have to have goals and want to come better, like right and achieve.
yeah, I one of the things I was concerned about, I can get so hyper focused on things. I just can't get driven about something anymore. It doesn't work, and I don't have the energy for it with just the time that we're in. The time is different. What we could do before is not what we do now. We do life
Mhm.
differently now, and so I thought, I if I'm going to do something, it's going to be because it comes from flow, not because it comes from adrenaline, or it comes from, because there's just too many things that can come at you, right? And also, you don't want to put a yoke on somebody
Yeah.
that's crushing. And I'm always so aware of that in my enthusiasm, I could flatten people really easily. And I don't ever want to do that, because um, the Lord is our shepherd. He leads us beside still waters. And, the thing that I most love right now about what's happening in my life is not weight loss. It's peace. I have this wonderful peace and sense of well-being. So anyway, if you can just have that, I
Mhm.
think a lot of the other things going on in your body also correct, because if you have fear and stress and sick and conditions, then you're um, it just kind of exasperates everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we wanted to really talk about apple pectin today, because we know that the thing that's uppermost on most people's minds every day of every week of every month for the last little while is how to navigate well during the era that we're in. And
Mhm.
health has come to the forefront. It absolutely has. Whether you were a health nut before or not, everybody's thinking about their health, and it's impacting everybody. So there's never been a more important time for us to be aware of the issues and the solutions. And there's never been a more important time to be able to encourage people, to give them hope, and to give them something that is affordable and
Yeah.
works, and to have a community of support, which feels quite lovely. So, Bobbi, is there anything else that you wanted to add to?
Just, like if people should do some really do some research on Amplepectin yourself, because what you're going to find is very interesting.
Yes.
And really eat your apples and eat them with the skin on. Just wash them first because it's going to remove toxins from your body. Now, I did read this. It's a little caveat I forgot to bring up. If you're taking a large amount of apple pectin, you have to stay away from like 2 hours away from other medications and antibiotics. So just note, so because it is a powerful remover of toxins, if you do need actual medication, make sure you keep your apple pectin away from it from 2 hours. But that goes to show you how powerful it is and what it can do, right?
Yeah, that's good. I didn't read that, so I'm glad. Like my husband has some conditions. He takes medication, but he's been working very hard, working out and his diet for like many, many, many years. And he feels that this year he's going to meet his goal and he'll probably be off his meds. He won't need them
Wow.
anymore. So that's really good.
That's
Well, we
amazing.
just wanted to let people know that we want to give you the secret sauce of the disease prevention protocol, which isn't part of Doterra. It's put out by a believer, a doctor out in the world, and he's put it together. And if you send us an email to our email address, which I'm going to post at the end of this video broadcast, which will be momentarily, it's health, wealth, and oils 555, which is grace at gmail.com. We'll give you the link so you can go. It's free. You just have to sign up for his list and he'll send it to you. And the other thing that we can do for you is we can give you the short, skinny sort of recipe. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what you should take. These are the amounts. And the other thing is, please do email us if you have specific concerns that you would like to have some information about. So Bobbi and I we are doing this from a posture of loving and serving. And Doterra is a business, so obviously, this is something where we earn our living, but primarily the motivation is care and concern and love for others. And we're happy to share information, whether that translates into you buying Doterra or not. So just to let you know, Bobbi is very knowledgeable. He's done a lot of research, and I'm learning, and I can research too. So we're working together to help.
Yeah. And we love the Lord and we love to pray. So if you have prayer requests, send them along too, because we will definitely be praying for you.
Yeah. Did you get anything for people specifically this time that you wanted to?
You know what? I did really feel that we're supposed to pray for that family and Barry.
Okay.
So I think I do think we need to pray. So
Okay.
Heavenly Father, I just lift up that family and Barry to you right now, Lord God, and we just speak healing and we speak wholeness. We speak the blood of Jesus over their household, over their bodies, over every cell in their body, that they would be made whole in the name of Jesus, that they would experience a supernatural touch from the Lord, that you are Jehovah Rapha, the God that heals us. And God, we just lift them up to you right now in the name of Jesus. And we speak healing over every part of their bodies. Yes, supernatural. Lord. Raise them up, Lord, to do the things that you have called them to do. And we just bless them with wholeness and healing in Jesus' name.
Amen. I agree. Lord, thank you for your goodness and your faithfulness. Lord, that you will be glorified. Yes. That you will break through, that, Lord, you will lift them up, that you will, Father, that it will shift and it will turn in life. And we just speak life. Jesus, you came that they would have life and have it to the full. So we speak life over them.
Yes.
Lord, we thank you for your miracle working power. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, kids. Oh, listen, I have something I would like us to talk about next time.
Okay, what's that?
I want to talk about candles. And the reason for that is because I had another sort of God thing happen around candles. And I didn't know this, but candles are if you don't have the right kind, they're extremely toxic.
Toxic.
And I was away on the weekend. I was thinking what I want to do is I love candles. I've got all these IKEA candles all over the place. I hoarded them. I went to the sales. I pulled out bags and bags of them. I drove my husband crazy getting them, and I have to throw them out now. You have no idea. I have like the big pillars for Christmas. They're like, I spent money on these things. It was an investment. I could have bought a car with what I spent on candles. But anyway,
next week we're going to talk about candles.
We're going to do them. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Bye,
All right.
everyone. See you next week.
Bye-bye.